you do when you have a $100,000 paperweight sitting in your garage? Because your car won't start. So Ventress is in kind of bad shape. I'm pretty sure it's the gauges, but now I've got to go through the car. I got to pop the little, actually it's on the other side, so I've got to walk all the way around, but I've got to get into the trunk, which I can't get the trunk to open because the battery's dead. It's like super dead. So I'm pretty sure it's the gauges. I just did those gauges and the car's been sitting for a few weeks. But now I've got to pop this little, there's a little panel down here, pop this panel out. And once I pop this panel, I can put the key in there and actually go through the trunk or through the back seat to get to the trunk to open the damn trunk to get to the battery. So I actually was not going to film this, but I've got a channel and kind of got to film everything, right? So watched a couple videos. It's actually a little bit more difficult than your usual battery replacement. So I want to see what happens while I do it. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Well, this was going to be a video I didn't do, but this battery is actually a lot harder to replace than I thought. So I'm going to try to do this in reverse order because I'm not down pretty much the last parts. But the first thing you're going to have to do is there's a panel here. You got to remove, I think they're Torx 30 bits from the two anchors on the side, and then there's a little cover on here. You pop that out, and then you'll get to being able to remove this whole little panel that covers everything over here. There's 4 little pull pins, 1, 2, 3. So that's the third one, and then the fourth one is down here somewhere. You'll find it, it's over here. You pull those little pull tabs, and then that'll make you be able to remove this. And then you've gotta, move your negative before you do anything. But you gotta remove this, which is a 13-bit, and then you gotta remove this whole panel off the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll start recording again from there. So kind of doing this reverse order. I'll show the other panels and maybe try to put this in order when I put the video together, but yeah. A little bit harder than I thought this was gonna be. I apologize for the shit lighting. I got a headlight on, so this is pretty bad. For this panel itself, it feels like this right here is kind of jammed on the thread, so you have to kind of finagle that. But there's 2 little pull tabs on the side. I doubt you can see where my finger's at. There's one on this side, and you can reach the other one when you go around here to pull the pull tab off the battery, which is what I'm afraid of. I don't think you could really do a replacement battery in here because I don't think this is really gonna snap onto a replacement. So I might be stuck with the GM AC Delco battery. We'll go to the store and see if they have one that fits, a good one. I'm not going to use just any AGM. Also, this is an AGM battery, so if you use a charger, make sure you use an AGM charger. I have a charger, never use it, but I'm going to start using it now because the car's been sitting a lot more now that I have this and Megan the Mazda. I no longer drive the Blackwing as much, so having it sit around, let it die. I also think the gauges kind of caused this issue, so I think the gauges are doing a little bit more of a draw than I expected. But I have noticed in the past couple of weeks the car starts a little slow, which I didn't think was the battery. The car is like 2.5 years old, so then AGM batteries are supposed to last a while, but they do die on you if you don't trickle charge them. So I'm going to start trickle charging mine every month moving forward. I already started it on Godzuki because I don't drive Godzuki that much, but Ventress never gets driven. But I thought this battery would be past that because it's OEM battery. But yeah, here I am with a dead battery. Yay. So after you pull this off, yes, that part there, try not to get a shadow here, that part there was kind of on the thread, so if you push it forward and lift up, it came up. But as I was saying, there's little tabs at the bottom down here. You got to pop those tabs off the sides of the battery. So they're on the sides of the battery on both sides. But once you pop that off, it's easy to get. The next thing you have to do is remove this. I think it's a 10mm. You remove that and the top clamp comes off, but there's also a bottom clamp down there, that bolt you see down there. You have to remove that to get the bottom clamp off. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I removed the bolts from both of these top brackets just to show you how they're in here. So this bracket had a bolt over there, and it is just latched under this little, I wish I had better lighting here. It's just latched under this right here. So you just pop that out and it comes out, and then, put that to the side. And the other one is down here with a 13mm bolt down here, but you have to get the extension to get to it. But once that comes out, that's just holding the bottom of the battery in. And then from there, you just slide the battery this way and it comes out. So all that work just to get a battery out of a car, kind of nice. One other thing you're going to remember is before you go to the auto parts store and get your replacement battery, take this off. It's just a 10mm bolt. It sits on your positive terminal, so this gives that top part where the 13mm bolt sits. Without this, you're not really going to be able to put that panel back on top. So make sure you take this off before you leave your battery at the, what's it called store? The auto parts store. For anybody wondering, they're exactly the same size. I knew batteries had like a standardized sizing, but standardized shape, standardized everything. Like literally, the little bases are the same, the little top, even this, how that little fits in there, it fits in here. Like, it's exactly the same casing, which I did not know that. So yeah, new battery, die-hard platinum, AGM, yay. Gonna be able to replace this today and not have to go to the GM or Cadillac dealer and buy a new battery, which would probably been ridiculously expensive. Something else I did want to highlight, make sure you take this plug off the battery you drop off there. So not only the little positive terminal, on the positive terminal side, there's a plug on the battery you take out of your car. I thought there was gonna be a plug on one of the two sides of this battery, but this side didn't have a plug, nor did this side. So I took that plug off. It was kind of a pain. I had to get a flat head from them to pop it out. Once you get it out, pop it back in here so you only have the gases draining out of one side. That's the way it's supposed to be. You know, gas is supposed to go through the tube, not into your car. Real quickly, I want to highlight this screw that's in this clamp on the bottom has a little retainer washer. Make sure you rotate that up some before you try to put this in, because if it's blocking these threads, you won't get it in. You just rotate it. It rotates pretty easily. You can also push it up. It's all bent up. I guess it gets bent up when it's in there. But just keep rotating it until some of the threads get out, so you can finger tighten this, then tighten it down with a socket in a 13 millimeter, ratchet in a 13 millimeter socket. Wanted to highlight real quick is this. So you have to get this bracket through these two holes right here. That's the first thing. You get those two tabs in there, and then you go around across here with a 10 millimeter. This is not, at least for me, it didn't exactly go all the way through. Like, these two didn't touch the bracket itself and the panel of the car. But once I started tightening this down, this didn't get tight until the bracket actually attached to the panel. So just tighten that all the way down until you get it nice and tight, and you're done with that. Watched a few other videos. They were talking about removing this, which I did not have to do. You have enough play in this without removing that. This one's not that bad. If you remove this, these will always go back in. But they had some brackets up here, this one right here. So they wanted you to pop this out. And I'm sorry about this lighting, I know it sucks. But they wanted you to pop this off. I didn't pop that off because these are the type that once you pop them off, they only have a few times, or if you have to buy a new one. And this looks like it might be something, it looks like it's just a zip tie through there. But anyways, I didn't pop either one of those off, and I have enough play to get the battery in and out perfectly fine. So now all I have to do is put this back on, and then put the negative on, and then put this panel back together, and it's all done. So I did want to remind everybody, before you put anything back on, you got to put this little bracket back on, or not bracket, but attachment back on. Real easy, 10 millimeter, have it facing this way, and then you can put this part back on. So I'm trying to get this top piece back on, and the left side goes on fine, but the right side won't clip, and I couldn't figure out why. There's these two little prongs right there that I have to go through these two little holes right here. That's gonna be fun to line up when I can't see it. So I'm gonna try to figure that out. I guess there's some holes right above the two prongs that maybe I can line things up with. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. Getting that top panel on was a pain in the ass that I didn't want to talk about, but I finally got it to pop. Can't give any secrets on that. I mean, you can kind of feel it coming from, God, it sucks with this lighting. You can kind of feel the hole from this side on over there, and I thought I shocked myself. There should be no ground on here unless I'm grounding myself. Anyways, you could feel it on this side, but you can't feel it on that side. So I was playing around with it and it just popped in eventually. So you just got to play around with that until it slides in. Don't force it. Eventually it'll pop and you'll feel it drop in. But after you get that, you just get to put this little panel up top, and that covers all that up. So yeah, this side really isn't that hard, but you just got to take your time and tighten that 13 millimeter bolt, and you're done. And with that, I have lights on the car again. So I've connected everything. So I got the negative terminal on there. Make sure you put the vent on this side. Negative terminal's there, and I now have lights. So before I had nothing. The battery that I took out was actually at 5 volts. So, you know, a lot of things in the car work on 5 volts, but they need 12 volts to be bucked down to 5 volts. So yeah, now the car actually turns on, and I have this nice trickle charger that I've had since my Infiniti, because it had a racing battery that was very small. You just have to trickle charge that all the time. Didn't think it would be that important on the Blackwing because, you know, OEM battery, but I will be trickle charging this about once a month. And if I ever feel anything weird when the car starts, you know, it just sounds a little bit weird, it took a little bit longer, I know what that means. But for some reason with this car, I was not thinking it was the battery. I was thinking I'll troubleshoot it later. And then I have a paperweight in my garage because I can't even open the door because the doors are electronic. So this wouldn't even open. Had to go through the trunk to get the trunk, or go through the back door to get the trunk to open. I'm not gonna have this happen again. Needless to say, I will be trickle charging once a month from now on. Okay, I'm gonna try to show how this all goes back together in reverse order since I didn't start the video originally. So these 4 clips, I don't know why GM uses this style of clip. I really hate these clips. They fall apart over time. You can see it's kind of boogered up on the sides. So these break apart over time. I wish they would just use the regular push pins. Even those can be a pain, but I hate these even more. But anyways, there's 4 of those. I've already put 2 of them in. There's one here, There's one over here, and then there's one under here right there. You can't really see it, I suck, but right there. And then you're also gonna have to put this panel back on, so you pop this back in. So when you pull it out, you just pull it straight up, but you push it back down. There's 4 clips on it that pop into the panel, but you also have to put these tie downs inside. They screw in. I'll do a quick video on how to put those in once I get there. Okay, to put this in, there's that 30, I think, torque bit that goes on this before this panel goes on. So this panel covers that, so you can't see it. You have to pop that off to get this out. So you pop this panel off, and then you'll see that 30 torque bit. Take that off, and this whole thing comes out. So that's how you take it off. Put it back in. These have a little tab on the bottom of them. So you put the first little part in, and then this tab goes in that hole on the bottom. So it goes in like that, and then that goes in there, and then you put the torque bit inside of that and tighten that down, and then you can put the cover on it after you tighten it down. Okay, with that, we got a battery replaced, and I no longer have a $100,000 paperweight in my garage. Ventress is now a driving car. I can start her and do whatever I want, whenever I want. But what I wanted to show y'all right now is with my handy dandy multimeter, what voltage this battery is now putting out. It is at 12.6 volts, which a car will start at 12.6 volts. It will do nothing from 5 volts. So the nice thing about the CT5s is you can jumper the car from here. You got a hunking negative here. You got your positive right here. It'll go straight to your battery. You can jump, or you can trickle charge right from here and not have to open your trunk. But at 5 volts, it wouldn't trickle charge. I couldn't jumper it. There was nothing I could do with a battery at 5 volts. The car did nothing. What I think caused that was most likely these gauges. Let's zoom in on those gauges. So I've got 2 nice pretty gauges. You can see one of the little gauge pods right there. I got 2 nice and pretty gauges from Aeroforce. These gauges do a lot of cool functions. But the thing that sucks about them is with 2 gauges, I'm pretty sure they're drawing in my battery twice as fast as all my other friends that have 1 gauge. So while my car is sitting here, I'm pretty sure I was draining the battery. So car's only 1.5 years old, battery should not die in 1.5 years, and I had no problems out of my battery until then. So what I probably have to do is, in the instructions, Aeroforce says for certain years of cars, you can just plug it straight into OBD2. I think it was like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. This is a 2023. So I should have been able to go straight to OBD2, but the Cadillacs, they do some voltage readings, they do some brake testing, they do random stuff at random times. And then also if you bring the key anywhere near it, the car will, like, lights will turn on, all this other stuff. My key inside is in a Faraday box, which will not let any signals go out, so it shouldn't be the keys. And then also the keys to the Blackwings, if the key's been sitting long enough, the key will turn itself off to save battery and probably block people from, you know, tapping into your car. So I don't think it was the keys, but something was causing the gauges to turn on from every now and then. So pretty sure it was that. So now with the new battery, I don't have to worry about that. I will keep an eye on that and check this every now and then and see what's going on. If the battery is draining, I will have to go ahead and work on that and tap this into the fuse box and accessory. But we'll see what Eurofloor says about that. And another thing, this is gonna be a little bit extra. My hood, carbon fiber, yes, love it. I did the satin PPF, so the whole car is satin PPF. It's not the Maverick, nor, yes, it's the Black Raven, as you can see there. And then I had the satin PPF around the car. I didn't do the Maverick Nor. It was like an $8,000 upgrade, and then you still got to PPF it because if you scratch it, you have all types of problems. So I did this with satin PPF, which looks really good. If you've seen PPF, satin PPF next to satin wrap, satin PPF is a lot smoother, gives it that nice smooth look across the car. PPF has a lot of orange peel, not PPF, but wrap has a lot of orange peel. Wrap is cheaper though, but this will last longer. It'll also protect your paint. But I also did that same satin PPF on my hood, which I love. If you see this in the night, you see this in the day, you see it in person, you'll see the carbon fiber. It looks really good. But in all pictures, it does that. It looks like some random gray. In all my pictures from Tail of the Dragon, any pictures I take, there's very few times I can get somebody to get a picture of this car where it looks that good. So she's not gonna look good on Instagram, but Ventress isn't for that. Not worried about how she looks on Instagram. I'm worried about how she looks day to day to my black ass, and she looks great. So I'm gonna been going back and forth on whether or not I want to change this to from satin PPF to gloss PPF. I'm leaving it satin because it makes me happy. But anyways, I just wasted y'all time talking about the PPF and all that crap. But yes, back to this whole story of what I'm supposed to be working on right now. I will track this. I'm going to check this every now and then, probably every day or so. I'll just leave this hood open and leave the multimeter right there. Check this and see if it's dropping. If it is dropping, I'll see how fast it's dropping. And then I will probably have to work on that gauge to tap it in the accessory fuse and not have it tapped into the OBD2, which is a simple job. But we'll see what's happening. But anyways, Job complete on this battery. Yay for Joe.